Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Kevin, I'm
Doing
glad that
good.
you're here.
All
Um,
right.
Patrick, Liz, great to see you.
Hey.
Hi.
So, let me take just a moment. While I'm getting this set up, just introduce your characters again, just in case people forgot these.
All right. Hi, I am Liz Doodles. I play Rayrel, the Wood Elf Ranger.
I'm Attack Trick. Could go by Pat or Trick or whatever have you. I'm playing Soren. He is a human sorcerer.
All right. Rounding out the trio is myself, Kevin Hitt, playing Drew Anthony, a battle cleric who has spent some time in the field of war and is now on a top secret mission for the church.
We're on a mission from God.
We're the Blues brothers and sister.
The Blues family?
The Blues family. That's better. Blues Clues. There we go.
Well, every team of adventurers has to come up with a silly name for themselves eventually.
Exactly. I'm down.
Okay, so we've got our Roll20 up. And the reason we've got our Roll20 up is we ended in a very tight situation last time. I'll put the Roll20 up on screen in just a second. We ended in a very hairy situation last time because our folks found themselves in a strange new place, deep underground in this metal cavern with oily black metal and strange little widgets on all the surfaces and these strange glass containers with humanoids inside. It was not a cool situation for anyone. So, let's see, we've got the Roll20 up. Let's just get that set up, and then we will be good to start, I think. Okay, let's just plop that right in the middle. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Infinity.
Ooh. The
Yeah.
audio even went there.
Oh no. Well, don't worry. It's just because the program I use kind of formats the windows weird. So whenever I put this up, I have to reformat it, and it kind of just displays forever. But once I have the screen open, we're good. Hmm? Okay, so the cave, if you can even call this a cave, is dark. It's oily. There's green fluids flowing through pipes from places you can't imagine to places you can't imagine. And the most notable thing that's happening right now, and probably the most pertinent thing, is you've got two gentlemen with white pallid skin and green goop oozing from their bodies, inching their way towards you ever closer. And this is I'm not going to talk for you, but I'm probably sure that this is not very comfortable for either of your characters.
Nope.
It's a
And
novel experience.
no matter what you do, they seem to be making their way closer and saying nothing as they do so. So I have to ask you all, how do you approach this?
Well, I have my swords drawn, and I'm just like waiting, see what they do.
Okay.
Did we retreat all the way to the door, the entrance that was locked?
Kevin, real quick, by the way, you're echoing quite badly.
Interesting.
I mean, it's a cave. You know it's going to echo, but it's a little shocking when we get to this level of realism.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a way to fix that?
We'll see. I'm in the same settings. I'll be back.
Okay, so Kevin's going to take...
What about now?
No, it's the same.
I don't know how I can be echoing because I'm just on the same setup.
Do you have headphones on? So, like, is your mic being...
I do.
Interesting.
Oops. Very same setup as last time.
That's very weird.
Alright. I'll type.
I'm not hearing it so much anymore. So
Okay.
Well,
maybe
I think as long as you keep your voice low, it shouldn't be too bad, Kevin.
alright.
Alright, so Rayrell is just like chilling, like ready with her swords, not making any moves.
So the gentlemen shamble their way closer and closer and closer, and they don't make a single sound as they do so, aside from the gurgling of slime and the sound of slapping on the metal floor. And they...
That's lovely.
So next room then. Should we keep going? Or they'll be fine without us.
They will be fine without you. But they don't want to be without you. They want to be with you. They want to get right into that situation.
Oh, they want monster hugs.
Space right now. They're coming on a little.
At least buy us dinner first.
Well,
Otherworldly goop and slurping sounds.
So, you don't do anything about it, from what I can tell.
No.
Just leave. Just leave the situation. It's
Just ollie outie.
Are there doors to be shut?
There's a hallway that goes down another path, but it's dark and at least you, Drew, can't see that far deep into it.
Gotcha.
So while you're doing this, and you're examining your different paths, all of a sudden one gets a very sudden bolt of speed and just lunges straight at Soren and goes directly for his throat. And I'm sorry to say, Soren, but you gotta roll for initiative on this one.
What do I need to roll now? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Give me an initiative roll.
We rolled last session.
Oh, we did. You're right. That's right. All of you are so much faster. But for this one, though, he does catch Soren quite by surprise, and before he can even act, the thing is on him, and it's trying to grapple his throat. So, with a 14 to hit, does he?
Normally he would, but I did cast Mage Armor before we came in, so he kind of grips at my loose robes and collar and everything, and then as he tries to bite, they're just kind of magically reinforced to be a bit firmer than they normally would be.
It's like a sort of purplish shield is enveloping you, and he sort of bites into this slippery surface. And you can see that as he bites into you, his tentacles sort of spread apart, and it's a beak that's making the bite at you.
Oh, okay.
So, I think the first one was Ray. Yes.
Yep.
So
Not friendly. They're not friendly.
so Ray, you see this thing try to beak your partner, and it immediately goes in on you. What do you do?
I'm gonna swing my sword at him. Let's see. One's a natural 20, and the other one is a 19 to hit.
Okay.
Dang.
So you jostle Soren for space and sort of shove him a little further back into the hallway. And as you do so, you bring both of your what was the second number?
The second one was a natural 20, and the other one was a 19.
Okay. So you just very naturally and very gracefully try to recover from how you've been performing before in combat and just gracefully slide them right into the thing. It's completely unprotected and completely awkward, and so you have no problem just sliding right in. It's almost a little too easy to slice into, like chicken that's been cooked too long. And the smell that comes out, terrible.
Ugh.
Just the worst.
So that is a total of 15 points of damage.
So, as your blades go into this thing, it's a very elegant maneuver, really. And the thing is basically halfway severed. You chop it right in two, like a pair of scissors, and its lower half just completely stops moving and stumbles to the ground motionless. The other half, though, is very much alive and keeps moving towards you, trying to grapple at your legs.
Oh my god.
The hungry beaky half.
Oh, trust me, it's doing whatever it can to move forward. It's even using the little face tentacles to like sort of clamber on the floor, if that's what it takes. So, Soren, what do you do about this situation? It's turned its attention from Ray and is clambering straight towards you. No, it's turned its attention from you and is clambering straight towards Ray. So what do? You have a moment of freedom to think.
Are we all within like 5 feet of each other, it looks like?
We are all very close, yes.
So a 5 feet radius for myself would not be good for everybody. Yeah, if it's just a shambling head or torso down on the ground, I'll pull out a dagger and try and just pin it down.
Okay. So, give me a number for that.
That's a 13 plus 5. That's an 18 to hit.
An 18? So this thing's not paying attention to you. And it looks like a nasty piece of carved up calamari. So you have no problem just taking your blade, and while it's not looking, and looking away from the other one, you just plop a dagger right into the back of the thing. So how badly have you damaged it?
A whole 4 points. Nice.
Okay. So it's not much, but you manage to, like a surprised child, sort of stab it a few times. You're not really trained with daggers, and you're not a very graceful fighter, but you can et tu brute it and just sort of stab aggressively downwards. So you make that motion, and you do a little bit of damage to the thing.
And then I'm just kind of like waving the dagger in my hand, trying to shake off some of the gross slurp or whatever is on it for this thing.
Okay, and then Mr. Drew, so this is all unfolding in front of you. You're a little bit behind Drew, and you can't quite jostle your way to the front. What do you do?
Is the top portion still moving?
The top portion is very much still moving, but it's not moving much.
Okay. Well, Drew will step back and then cast his cantrip, Sacred Flame, on the top portion of the downed body,
Mm-hmm.
doing 1d8 damage of radiant fire.
Okay. So, and there's no save
One.
for this?
Wait, hold on. No, there's no save. Oh wait, maybe a deck save? Maybe, hold on. I think there might be a deck save.
I mean, it's that's your thing, knowing how these things work.
Okay, it's a 1, so I got 1 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, 1. And you can make a saving throw, a deck saving throw.
Okay, this thing's not
As a
saving
DC.
on that.
Yeah, so you take 1, sir. You take 1 of fire.
So it's not
He does.
It's not an exceedingly powerful blast or anything really impressive, but the important thing about the little flame that you conjure is where it hits, and it's right in the top of the thing's skull, and it burns right through, like you dropped one of those pieces of molten lead or something that they use for getting through safes, and it just goes right through the thing.
Wow.
And with that, it stops moving, even though Drew may still, in fact, be stabbing at it. Also,
so I'm creating space. I've backed up so that those two can fight.
I think it might be that you have the stream open, and that might be the echo causer.
Usually, no.
But either way, despite whatever may be going on, there's still another zombie, and it very much lunges also at Drew, simply because he's the closest one. And its hands reach out to you, Drew, and let's see. So you said your armor was what again?
So
Drew or Soren?
Soren.
Yeah, I think it's Soren. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Soren. Soren is who is it lunges at?
With mage armor, I believe it's 16.
16. So this one lunges at you and grabs hold of your cloak, and it just latches on and it refuses to let go. And it's just sort of grappling you in this tight embrace. It didn't do any damage, but it's on you, and it is busting through your mage armor as fast as possible. And that's no good at all, of course. But what's even worse is that thing you thought you killed is also trying to grab at your ankles, and it is still going. You're safe because your mage armor is holding out, but you are fully immobilized, and you cannot move.
Well, shit.
Soren, this is not good for you. But
No, I'm not enjoying this.
no, but it's not your turn. In fact, Ray, having now sliced the thing in half, has an opportunity to act once again, and she's at the ready.
Alright, I'm gonna swing my swords again at the one I divided last time.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to get him down.
Okay.
Oh no. Okay, so one of them's a natural 1,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is a 24 to hit.
Okay. So you sort of make a swing, but you miscalculate because it's a tight space and it's like a submarine corridor, and you kind of accidentally stick your blade into the wall, and it's sort of jammed between two of the weird green ooze pipes. But your other hand, you declare maybe fuck it for now, and you let go of one sword, and you go in with the other and take a hard swing down on the creature as it makes its way on Soren's legs. So how badly do you hit it?
10 damage.
Okay. So you just wallop that thing and absolutely shatter its rib cage. And it seems to have slowed down for now and isn't moving again. Drew, or no, Soren, what do you do with this little bit of a mosh pit you found yourself in?
I think Soren at this point just panics and he just starts trying to shake and just yells, "Off! Get off!" And his that gem he has starts to glow. And I apologize to my allies that are within 5 feet of me, but he's so panicked that he casts Word of Radiance, which is a cantrip that washes divine energy within a 5-foot radius of me. It needs or
Well, good thing we're blessed.
yes, we are blessed.
So,
Oh, that's really good. I got a 25 for a con save.
and then Drew yourself?
Drew has rolled a 4.
Is that including your bless?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we'll take a 4.
Okay. So Drew, Soren, let's hear the numbers.
It's a healthy 2 points of radiant damage.
Okay.
It's
So
not too strong.
the
It's
creature
just kind of as a panic.
the creature is buckled back and it's thrown off you. It's no longer grappling you because the weird little white words that radiate out chaotically from you and smell faintly of wine hit the thing, and it does not seem to be a fan of it. Even if it isn't, a hard hit, it definitely seems to be aggressively not a fan of what you've done. And the words are swarming around the thing and leaving burn marks all over its strange flesh. One of the words goes stray, though, and it hits Drew. And Drew, this isn't the first time you've been hit by pain from a divine source. You've been trained in this type of thing. So it hurts, but it's not bad. And it mostly just leaves little singe marks as it touches you.
Indeed.
I just
And
try to scramble backwards as much as I can. Just sorry,
like
sorry,
flat
sorry,
against
sorry.
the wall kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, Drew, this is sort of the burns you've received have surprised you and sort of roused you to action, and now you're ready to take the stage. What do you do?
Well, seeing as how his flame was able to dispatch one zombie, he's going to go back to the well once again, and we'll do 1 point of damage.
You're rolling like I did last week.
Wow.
Our cantrips are so good.
Yes. So one point of radiant fire.
Okay, so you notice that this thing doesn't seem to be a fan of the glowing words, and so you double up on that, and you cast what you know oh so well, a little ball of radiant flame. Just like the last one, it's very small and it's very targeted. This one targeted not so much at a vital point though, and you burn its hand, and it, scoffs away for a moment, but seems relatively unshaken by the move. It once again lunges at Soren, and this time, Soren, your armor does not hold up. It cracks on through and breaks its beak right into what it tries to go for your head, but you're fast enough that it doesn't quite reach that. Instead, it beaks right into your shoulder with a very, very disgusting crunch sound it bites into you. and you take 6 points of damage.
Ooh.
And then you thought, okay, that wasn't so bad, but it's seeping that green goo from its mouth, and it falls into your open wound, and you take another extra point of acid damage as it burns what wound was opened.
Oof.
Ooh. For the record, I thought the first one was bad.
Okay, Rayrel, this is sort of shocking, and you're very worried for your friend now that he's been injured. What do you do to help him out?
I'm gonna swing. Is my other sword still stuck in the wall, or?
It is wedged in there. I will say with a bonus action you can get it out.
Okay, so that means I can only hit once. But, once is all I need. Okay,
Well, you still have unarmed strikes as a secondary weapon as well.
True. Okay, so... I'm going to strike with my one sword, punch him with my free hand, and then retrieve my sword from the wall.
What kind of punch are we looking at?
Just an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Just, welcome to Oerth.
What's the flavor text on it?
Punch him in the face.
Okay.
Okay, so the sword strike was a natural 20, and the unarmed strike is an 8.
Okay.
So, I'm assuming I don't punch, but I certainly slice the guy.
So you punch into him, and it sort of doesn't seem affected by it, and just sort of looks up at you. But while it's doing that, it punches you, it looks up, and by the time it looks up, a sword hilt is moving very fast towards the thing. How badly is it hit by this?
16 points of damage?
Okay, so you absolutely floor this thing with that. The metal and the hilt of it bash into the creature's skull, knocking it towards the ground, and it's prone on the floor, barely moving after that. But it is still shambling and trying to get up. Soren, what do you do?
This thing is still...
It's still moving, and it's still trying to get up.
And it's...
Drew ducks.
Even... It's Soren just grasping at his shoulder where this went in, just panics and tries to hurl a small chunk of fire at it and casts a firebolt.
Okay.
Which I think, since we're within 5 feet, it's going to be within disadvantage.
Okay.
So disadvantage, but still blessed, is just a 9 to hit.
Okay. Yeah, you do hit. So how bad is this burn that you've given this creature?
It's going to be a D10 of fire, so... 1. It is 1 point of fire damage.
So, with that, you poke another hole right in its robe. You nearly miss its vitals, but the thing is staggering and it's moving slow. And so, who else has a chance to act but Drew? But first, Rayrel, give me a dex save.
Dex save? Alright.
Yep.
Hold on. Oh boy. 10?
Okay, so after you pull your sword out, there's some gurgling sounds in the pipe, and you sort of hear, strange noises moving through the pipes. And to your surprise, some of the green goo that's caking these creatures blasts out of the pipe onto you and sprays all over your forearm, and it burns. It just burns. And you take 3 points of acid damage as your skin sort of bubbles, And it's right about where the old spider wound was, too.
God damn it.
The spider.
Freaking spiders.
Rayrel didn't have any sort of preternatural sense that danger might have been coming as a result of her spider wound.
Now, I've heard about the
If
Rayrel
only-
Spider-Man theory that you two keep making, and it's cute. I like it. But yes, so the thing is still moving, and Rayrel's hand is burnt, and her spider senses did not allow her to move in time. But Drew, you have a chance. What are you gonna get up to?
So Drew will once again try to not roll a 1 and throwing fire. Drew will throw fire. Let
Mm-hmm.
me bring back this. So seeing kind of that the thing is actually attacking and kind of scoring a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A 1. Drew will do 1 point of damage. Let me. Sure is the algorithm not just. Oh nope. Yeah, it's a 1. It's a 1.
No. I'm rolling real dice,
A
and my
one
cantrips are doing
to
that.
hit or to do
One-
damage?
1 fire damage, sir. Madam DM.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
I'm talking to people on the phone over here.
it's
Sorry.
not a whole lot of damage, and don't you worry too much. But where Soren managed to open up a chance for its vitals, you finish through with it, and you go right into the creature's chest, and its heart is burnt, and it stumbles to the ground. Um. All right, Rayra, what do you do?
I'm going to swipe at the weird tentacle zombies with my sword.
Well, it stumbled
My
to the ground,
sword.
and it's not moving.
It's not moving.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna stab it one more time just to be sure. Double tap.
Okay.
Just I'm gonna just make my sword just once this time.
Okay.
Oh, that's a 9 to hit.
Hmm. Don't worry, this thing's very prone and very on the ground. You very much hit it.
Okay. Okay. So that is 10 points of damage.
Hmm. So, with one last breath, with one last move, you come over to the creature's chest and you drive your sword right into it. And your instinct was right, as it does make one final lunge at you as you drop your sword into it. But, luckily for you, your blade hit harder than its claws ever could, and your sword, you drive it in, and the creature is unmoving now as it finally stops moving, or finally stops making a move at you.
Woo.
I think it looks like the two creatures have stopped moving, and you're safe to go about.
Uh,
Has
Do we-
anybody poked him with a stick?
I can poke them with my swords.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you just make sure they don't want to move anymore?
Yeah, I want to just nudge them with the sword just to double, triple check that they're.
Um, give me a nature check, everyone.
A nature check? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. 15.
Mm-hmm.
That's an 18. Yeah.
And yourself, Soren?
9.
Okay. So, while you're doing that, something sort of comes to your mind, Soren, or not Soren, Drew, in that you know what these things are. Like, you've read about these things before. These are maybe not in their most prestigious form, but these are illithids. they're known for like stealing people's brains and committing terrible experiments and living deep in the Underdark. It's very.
Whoa,
You remember reading about it once in one of the tomes in the Cuthbert Hall, specifically one labeled "Things Not to Be."
yeah. Well,
Sir
with that
Andrew Garth's
information,
"Things Not to Be."
I'll, Drew turns, kind of concerningly turns with that leading man look,
Mm-hmm.
raises an eyebrow, and says to, "We need to be very careful. This manner of being is well known throughout Oerth of experimenting on humanoids, and in particular, their psyche and their brain.
Huh. Good to know.
Keep your heads on your shoulders."
Right. Well, my shoulder's in a bit of a poor state right now, but I'll lean on the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still bleeding. Keep in mind, like that was a wound and a half that he received.
What are you at, Soren? What are you at in terms of damage?
I am bloodied. I am.
Well, not any longer. Cure wounds will be cast upon my compatriot,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be a total of 9 points restored.
Ooh, thank you.
So yeah.
I'm starting to think this cave is not just a fun excursion anymore.
Well,
I have to agree.
now that you have a chance to sort of stop and view the place, like there's these strange sort of semi-biological looking capsules. There's tables arrayed out with tools of the trade for experimentation. There's the obviously quite large broken capsule in the center of the room. And then there's the two illithid bodies sort of mangled and splayed out across the hallway. It's quite a gruesome scene. So you have a chance to take a deeper look at that, or there's the dark hallway that goes down further to a place that you can't quite make out.
I think we should investigate this chamber with the pods first. Maybe we can find some clues or something useful for later on.
It seems sound.
Okay. Well, then, how do you go about this?
I'm going to carefully investigate the room.
Mm-hmm. So you sort of let's see. Give me what? Let's say a perception check. Or yeah, perception. That's for looking for things.
Okay. Perception. Okay. 14.
Okay. So you scan about the place, and this is eerily biological, and you find quite a few bits and pieces. It looks like it had been recently inhabited, and what had been fiddled with had not been sitting out too long. You find this sort of green container, and it's got a preserved brain with little eyes looking right at you in it.
The brain has eyes attached to it?
Yep, little eyes attached right to it. You find,
Is that.
and this brain is floating in more of a bluish goo, and sitting next to it on the table are 12 vials carefully arrayed of the blue goo that the brain is floating in. And then you find 8 well-bottled little potions sort of sitting on the other half of the table. It looks like they were in the process of being refined, and so aren't quite done.
Okay, so I think I'm going to take the 8 potions.
Mm-hmm.
And was it 12 vials of blue goo?
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll take those because, like, part of our mission was to, like, bring back anything that we found, and I think this might constitute that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
and
absolutely just tapping my finger on the brain jar.
Don't don't tap on the glass.
it,
We don't know what that is.
little bubbles go up, and there's like sort of a weird humming that comes from it, but it doesn't seem to attack you or make any movements towards you.
I mean, I think it likes it. It's responding in its way.
It's just going. Like a little
I
buzzing
am not
sound.
touching that.
Does this little workshop strike you as something that those shambling creatures could have been operating themselves?
Maybe? I mean, one of the pods is open. There might be a third, whatever the fuck these things are, somewhere.
I mean, apart from the biting and the eating, which they seemed quite skilled at, fine motor control seemed a little bit beyond them.
True.
Keep in mind as well that it does seem like there was some sort of struggle or something had gone awry in this room, as there is broken instruments all over the floor, like little bits of glass and whatnot. And of course, there's the culprit of the large broken pod.
So maybe the broken pod, whoever was in there, got out and attacked whoever was working in here. Another way out of here. Because that door is locked. We're not getting out.
Does the brain just watch? I'm still just like staring at it, trying to figure out why it's here.
It doesn't seem to watch, it just seems to, like a sort of computer, just sort of respond to stimulus. It doesn't make any movements or show any signs of intelligence, just sort of responding with a simple sound when you touch the glass.
Drew is going to walk to it.
Mm-hmm. The glass?
And yes, and put his hand on it.
Okay. You feel like, have you seen those big geodesic spheres with like the electricity pulsing inside?
Oh, indeed.
Yes.
You feel like a very, very slight buzzing in your hand, sort of warmth.
And Drew will turn. If something happens, tackle me away from this glass. And he'll put his other hand on it.
You get a
Anything
slightly
happens?
more intense, but it's still just a very gentle buzzing sensation.
Okay. Then Drew will remove his hands and step back, contemplating what this all means.
I mean, if this is where you choose to take a rest, you can take a rest here. And if you have, any initiatives you want to take, you can take them now.
I think since we can't go back the way we came, we have to find another way out of here. And there is one other path. besides the one that led us in here. So perhaps we just continue with some caution and maybe we'll find a way out or someone who can help us get out.
As Rayrel says caution, Soren is kind of like shaking the jar a little
Leave
bit.
the jar alone, Soren.
There's a more of a distressed if any emotion can be drawn from it, it's a slightly distressed
Okay. If it doesn't like it, I'll stop.
So Drew immediately unsheathes his mace
Mm-hmm.
and is looking at the glass with the brain in it.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew will turn to his compatriots. I am not sure I want that thing to be around. Maybe it is communicating with others. Maybe it is giving away our position. Why it is still alive and still reacting, I say we take all the notes we can and then we destroy it.
I guess.
I mean, keep in mind, this is definitely something that is way out of the scope of what either Ray or Soren has seen before, and it is distinctly alien.
Yeah, but it's in goo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume, and Drew turns. It seems logical that if this is this being, it appears it needs this liquid to survive. And if it does, I would like to remove said liquid. And so Drew's going to look for any sort of spout, any sort of like, plug that he can pull or
Mm-hmm.
cajole loose to see if,
It has a little spigot near the top that seems like it was used originally to fill the container with it.
right, but no exit for the liquid
No exit.
that he can see.
No, this appears to be some sort of more permanent containment.
And how is Drew able to reach over the top or not?
You can open it up and reach inside if that's what you mean.
Yeah, so Drew, stand by. And Drew's going to open the top.
Okay. Well,
Just
a
a
delightful
couple of
smell.
inches.
A delightful smell greets you, and the
Whoa.
mmming gets a little bit louder.
Soren takes like 2 big steps backwards.
and Drew turns and says to Rayrel, if I wasn't a holy man, I may want to poke this thing a couple times with the sword. Kind of joking, but he is going to examine the blue liquid.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to open the top, and he's going to put the very tip of his mace in it.
Okay. Well.
Like, I mean, I'm talking like just the very spike point at the
Mm-hmm.
top of the.
Well, from the smell, it as a holy man, this is kind of a smell you recognize. Actually, it smells like embalming fluid. Just a lovely smell, of course, but like it's one
Yeah.
you recognize.
And Drew's still a little nervous because this is an alien territory. So he's going to just put the drop of the blue liquid on, and one of the, wherever he can, on the side of the glass, and he'll just touch it with his finger and smell it, just to make sure it's not gonna pop it
Um,
or fry his finger off.
no check required. This is definitely embalming fluid.
Outstanding. So Drew turns once again. This is nothing more than an embalming fluid, and I do
Oh,
believe it is what's keeping this entity alive. My question to you both, why is the entity still alive if one of these creatures was able to escape or leave of their own free will?
Perhaps then we shouldn't kill it? And they were left alive.
I think that is wise counsel for now.
I mean, it's on a table full of. It's only responding when we do things to it. It may just be a tool to them.
I mean,
Does it-
maybe.
Does it look human? Does the brain look humanoid?
It looks like something you've seen in humans, but
Okay,
brains
so
tend to not be too different among the sentient creatures.
right. So I mean, but like the brain isn't like a huge B movie horror flick brain.
No, this is definitely something that could go right inside of Drew's skull.
Okay. All right. Well, and are there any devices in said room that looks like it was designed to communicate with this thing?
Um, not that you know of, but you do know this much about illithids is that they have very strange telekinetic powers. So, like, you wonder, would they even need such a device?
Indeed. I would say for us non-tele people. Um. Okay. Well, Ray Rail, I think that counsel is sound. Although a part of me thinks that this is a tortured creature that has been taken and has been being talked to and or used for experimentation.
That is a possibility. I don't feel comfortable just leaving them here. Perhaps we bring them with us?
I think it is too bulky to carry if we have to fight once again. Let's mark the location and just remember where it is, and perhaps we will come back.
Okay.
And with that, Drew will sheath his mace and kind of stand down from his nervous posture
Mm-hmm.
and prepare to march through the hallways once again.
Okay. Soren, Rayrel?
Yeah, I'm ready to move forward. There's not much else here.
Okay.
I took the 8 potions and the 12 vials of goo.
Which you now know to be embalming fluid.
Yeah, but who knows? It might come in handy later.
Hmm. You never know when you have to embalm something these days. Okay. So, it's strange as you make into the second room. It feels even more supernaturally dark than the others so far. But you see something before you. A large blue pool of water, and it goes down deep to somewhere you can't quite identify. At the
Is
other end
it?
of this little circular room is another steel door, but this one does not seem to be heavily and artificially locked like the others are. The pit of water in front of you is making strange, sort of deep sounds. If any of your characters have seen whales, it's comparable to that. And then on the left side of the room, there's a hallway that goes down further to somewhere you can't quite identify.
Well, I say we go down the open hallway.
Did Raybell... Okay.
Unless someone objects.
Raybell, Real quick, you take 1 point of psychic damage suddenly as it feels like a bolt of lightning hits you inside of your own head. Nothing visible, but it's like you've got a spike of a massive migraine.
Will we see her kind of buckle at the knee or anything as this
Yeah,
happens?
she's definitely like it's like, she stubbed a toe or something. There's notable pain. Nothing major, but you can tell it's discomfort.
Drew looks at Rayrell and just kind of with a questioning face.
Everything all right?
Who said
Just
that? Wait, Soren, was that you that said that?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't hurt, but you feel a mental jolt go down your spine as well.
Drew puts his finger to his lips as a shush kind of command. And we'll back out of the chamber the same way we came in.
Mm-hmm. So you're back in the hallway.
Yeah, saying, with his hand kind of beckoning the two.
Okay. So you're back in the hallway. Now what do you folks do?
Well, Drew is looking at both of them saying, did something happen when you spoke?
Yeah, I got a surge of pain in my mind, like a headache.
I had a bit of a chill down my spine.
All right. Stay behind me. Let's not speak. I'll peer once into the water to go through the hallway to the left.
Yes.
Well, does that door look like the same type of door we came in?
Madam DM? Does the door on the far side of the...
It looks much lower security.
Okay.
It doesn't have
In that case,
the
probably
intricate
not.
tentacle locks that the entryway did.
In that case, probably not connected to the outside, so let's avoid that.
All right, follow me. And so Drew, in a slow but deliberate, not trying to be stealthy, but trying to be a little bit more quiet than normal, not walking around like the Scooby-Doo gang. We're gonna go ahead and I'm going to go up to the water and just peer into it quickly, see what I can see, and then we will take the hallway to our west.
So, it's a very strange sight that you see before you. It's deep, and the water goes down for what seems to be 20 feet. Like a giant well, but this one is 15 feet across. And the water smells putrid. And you see what first appears to just sort of be strange, like black shapes, like a mass of eels in the water. But then it dawns on you that this giant, black, disgusting mass, it's a giant brain. And yeah,
Yay!
it's emitting, strange whale-like sounds. It's almost kind of sad in a little way. It definitely, whatever these noises are, and if you can extrapolate anything from them, it's a mixture of sadness and pain.
Is the brain large?
It's enormous. It will easily 10 feet across.
Jesus.
Is the water embalming fluid?
It doesn't smell like embalming fluid. It may have been tinged with it, but it doesn't seem to be that in its entirety.
Reerail's just gonna motion toward the hallway, because nope.
The hallway out or the hallway deeper in?
The hallway deeper in.
Okay. Drew, Soren, what is your take on that?
Soren is going to fight his instincts and continue to walk quietly as instructed.
Well, what was his instinct saying?
I mean, just his instinct, not so much with the brain, just his instincts to always be talking and filling silence. He's a chatterbox.
Okay, I thought for a moment he was tempted to jump in the water and swim with it like Free Willy. Okay, so you head towards the hallway on the left? Okay. So, this one continues for a long way, and there's some strange peculiarities to the room, but it's not as far as the original laboratory was. That was quite a ways away. So, you can still sort of hear the weird humming of the brain in the distance, but it's much, much more quiet now. But this room, it seems to be some sort of jail, as multiple cells sort of line the wall, and they all seem to be left very, very empty long ago. So the prison bars sort of spiral out like a Viking shield's design has, and much like the rest of the building, this room has that horrible aversion to straight lines that the whole facility's had so far. Now, clearly there was some sort of brutal struggle here, but you can't really see anything of the victims aside from, very gentle smears on the wall. Compared to the rest of the place, as you get into this little prison room, it's eerily quiet, and aside from the smears, is much cleaner compared to the rest of the place. There's a glowing panel on the back of the room, and it only has a couple simple controls on it.
I'm going to take a closer look at the cells, see if there's anything in them.
There is definitively nothing in them. It has been ripped clean.
Okay.
Aside from those little smears on the wall, nothing is in there.
Okay.
Soren is approaching the flashing lights.
Of course he is.
Anything shiny, Soren?
Oh, I mean, not so much. Not so much shiny as bright. In sharp contrast to the rest of this ship.
Yeah.
There's 3 buttons there.
Tell me more about these buttons.
Well, there's a red one, there's a yellow dial, and then there's a purely metal black one.
The dial. I'm messing with the dial.
Okay. So, you pull the dial all the way.
Turning it left if it'll go left.
So, from the entryway of the room, you can hear like a hatch is being pushed by pneumatic tubes, open and shut and open and shut.
Those could be good sounds, right? Perhaps that's the door opening.
Perhaps. Maybe I can make my way over to the door
Mm-hmm.
in the other chamber to see if it had moved at all. Just carefully make my way over there.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything too strange. It's weird though. It's kind of. It feels hard to. You get to a point where it's hard to move through. Sort of like a heavy wall, or like a piece of rubber has been stretched across the hallway, but you can't quite make it out anything. And you notice a floating skull and some floating pieces of metal sort of just suspended a couple inches off the ground in front of you.
I'm gonna go back to the group.
Okay.
Now, did Soren crank this all the way to the left, or did what you were describing happen, just moving it a little bit?
This happened just moving it a little tiny bit.
It's while Rayrell is gone, he's just getting antsy and kind of just gradually nudging it a little bit more.
Okay.
Like a kid, like fidgeting with it.
Mm-hmm. Do you touch any of the other buttons?
Not yet.
And then Drew, what are you up to?
Drew is nervously watching Soren.
Someone should be.
Yes, getting ready to pull him by the scruff of his neck if something dumb happens.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm just in a ready position.
Nothing too strange seems to happen.
All right. So yes, Drew is just anxiously expecting something.
No, nothing too weird seems to be happening. It all seems pretty okay. Yeah, Rayrell, there's like a wall, and you just can't get through it.
Alright. I'm heading back to the group.
Any such luck, or should I keep twisting further? I can keep twisting.
I don't know. I can't get back to the brain chamber.
Okay, I'll go a little further then. No matter what answer, he just wanted to keep going further.
So, as he turns the dial further, Rayrell, you can feel like yourself getting pushed by like a soft, sort of stretchy surface pushing you forward. And hey, it's that skull again, floating off the ground. Much closer this time, and right behind Rayrell.
Guys, I think we have company.
Drew will immediately spur into action, following Rayrell, going to her.
So, you're there as well. And, yeah, the strange rubbery wall just seems to be pushing forward. Sort of, and this room is a dead end, so it'll eventually push all the way to the edge of the room.
So other way then on the dial? Should I try the other way?
Yeah, try the other way.
I crank it all the way to the right.
Okay, so the stretchy wall recedes, but you can still see the skull floating off the ground a ways back and sort of stopping exit from the room.
What in the 9 hells is going on?
I don't know, but it smells like a little bit like the green goo.
Oh no.
Maybe I should have been putting pressing them together, and I'll press the red and black buttons together.
Okay. When you press the red
That's
one,
it.
the cells open up and the cages are open to entrance now. And then when you press the black button, you notice that basically spikes jute out inside of the now empty cells.
Oh, fun. These ones seem a little more clear with what they do, at least.
All right.
I'll hit the black button to recede the spikes.
And they recede.
Drew is going to march up to the jelly wall or whatever. Jelly donut.
Okay.
He's going to stand right in front of it
Okay.
without touching it at this point and just examine. I mean, does it appear like that it's shimmering, moving?
Well, on a closer examination, it's definitely a little shimmery. It's a very see-through substance, though. It's impressive at how well it camouflages itself. And it doesn't seem to be, moving in any notable way, aside from jostling around the contents that are already inside of it.
What do I see inside of it?
Fully dissolved skeletons, pieces of metal, things like that.
This looks like an oversized room, but looks like it wants to clean out human. I'm gonna turn and go get Ray Rail.
Okay, so you come back in, Rayrel. Drew's up next to you. What do you do?
Well,
I look at him. It's like,
Ray Rail,
yeah.
this thing, I think it's dangerous. I mean, obviously there are human remains inside a moving object.
Yeah. I think we should go try that door. Maybe we can unlock it somehow. But I think this that thing Soren's playing with is mostly for this area.
Well, I don't think there's any escape without dealing with this thing. I do not see another way out.
Okay, we'll just have to cut through it then.
Let me experiment first,
Okay,
but be ready to fight.
always.
Drew will start forward and he's going to maybe one more back. He's gonna light a torch.
Okay. And you can tell as you light the torch the slime sort of recedes around it. Like it actively does not want to be part of that substance.
Yeah. I'm going to try to wave said torch to see if it will back up and let us out.
It
Without
backs up.
touching it at first.
Yeah, it basically forms a perfect like archway, like a little door as it sees the fire, and it seems deeply uncomfortable with it.
Follow me.
All
So
right.
Drew will walk.
Mm-hmm.
Drew will walk with the torch,
Mm-hmm.
but he will go to the other side of it, but he'll leave the torch like with his arm extended in the archway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, all three of you, if all three of you are coming, manage to get
Yep.
through the creature like this. And Drew, take an inspiration for figuring out a non-violent way through an encounter.
I thank you, Madam DM. Thank you very much. Point of inspiration. All right. Yeah. So Drew is just very analytical right now, trying to figure things out, but doesn't say a word. He puts his finger back up to his lips and points at the door that's north, and then walks towards it.
It's not locked. You can get through it. It's not locked.
Alright, so Drew's going to put his hands up, and he's gonna like put one finger up, then two fingers up, then three fingers up, and then give them a thumbs up. And then he goes, he'll put one, he'll put two, he'll put three, and then he opens the door.
Okay. And so you cross into this next room, and the hallway through, you notice not white bodies like you saw before, but like purplish bodies just sort of splayed against the hallway, uh, looking like rib cages displayed and heads blown off and all that terrible thing. Like there had been some sort of great struggle here.
Okay.
And then in the hallway ahead, you can spy what appears to be some sort of cross between a kitchen and an experimentation room. There's sort of a bunch of mutated rat-like creatures in a cage in the room, and then there's a flare, sort of like the one you saw before, but looking nowhere near as haggard as the ones from the green slime, and in much finer and more like more fancy regalia than them as well. And the creature's sort of mindlessly pawing at this sort of at a door like the one you came in through. It hasn't noticed you yet, and it's just mindlessly pawing. And there's I think that's about all I need to establish this.
So even though it looks a bit fancier, a bit different, its mannerisms seem the same as the first couple that we encountered.
I mean, it's definitely more attentive and seems to be more coherent of what's going on.
Well,
Perhaps we can try talking with it?
no.
Hmm.
Drew just rushes out to try and skull bash this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Drew, you walk forward and
I sprint.
you sprint forward. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Give me a attack check then.
All right. So here we go. Drew's going to sprint forward with his mace and try and club this thing in its dome.
Okay.
So here we go. And that would be a 19.
Okay. So you just rend right into this thing, and while it's pawing, it doesn't even have a chance to notice you before you send it sprawling across the ground.
Yes.
And there were definitely some nasty crunches that were heard in that thing as you just laid into it. And how much damage was that?
That's going to be 8 points of skull crushing damage.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, there are just definitely some weird cracks and nasty sounds of like spluttering as you hit this thing. And it splayed out over the ground. Went from being the number one pacifist to being truly the most violent and aggressive move you could have taken in that situation.
Hey, I have no mental defenses.
Yeah, I'm not.
And these things are freaking evil. So yeah, nope.
You know what? I don't blame you per se.
Yeah, I know what these things can do. They catch one of us off guard, we're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
destroyed. So yeah, so Drew, with his surprise round, sprints, does 8 points of damage to this thing, swinging at its dome,
Mm-hmm.
ready to just keep hitting it into submission if it's not dead.
Okay. Well, the thing is splayed out over the ground, and it doesn't seem to be moving.
All right, then he'll cantrip its face with fire.
Okay.
Just a little "you better be dead" kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, give me a number on that.
It's gonna be a face fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
And there we're at.
How much damage you do?
4. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. So you bash this thing, send it sprawling across the floor, and then you light it on fire.
Yes.
And it seems to be still for a moment, and then its hand holds the one of the experimentation tables that was there before, and it flips it over with unbelievable strength, just picking up the entire thing and tossing it into a wall nearby. And then,
Oh, okay.
before you can even know what's going on, it reaches around and grips a claw onto your throat, slashes as hard as it can, and then
Okay.
kind of drop kicks you almost.
Ooh, little Hulk Hogan action.
Yeah. So, luckily for you, though, you are wearing chainmail, because otherwise that would have been an extremely bad claw mark on your neck. But your chainmail manages to block it, but the drop kick does hit you. You take a good knocked out of breath as you stumble against backwards and bash into the cage with the experimental creatures on it. And so now those are out as well, and they just absolutely swarm the ground the moment they get thrown out onto the ground.
All right.
And now let's have some initiative.
Donkey Kong. Let's go.
Okie
Let's go.
Oh, that's a natural 20 with a 24 total.
Mm-hmm.
My dice are behaving today. They weren't earlier this week.
Yeah.
And Drew comes in with a 15.
That's a 13 for Soren.
Okay, and then yep. Okay. So Ray, you're the first to take notice of this situation, and you see all these sort of rat creatures with their brains exposed, skittering about everywhere. And it does appear, yes, they do have scorpion tails instead of regular tails, and they're just
Brains
flooding
are
the room.
exposed.
They are panicking, and they don't know what to do, and they're lashing out at whatever's closest. There's a bunch of tiny ones that don't seem to be too much of a concern, but there's two ones about the size